Welcome back to the Voices of Metal, where we talk about all the things that have to do with metal, kinda, sorta. Well, it's one of those things where there are going to be some other things I'm not going to just talk about just metal. But this is rather interesting. I saw this article and I thought this is different. Um, Courtney from Spiritbox. Um, I'm not sure how to pronounce her last name, so I apologize. Reveals the pitfalls and the genre obsession in the metal community. Basically, what it boils down to, I guess she feels like um, that sometimes the bands kind of seem to stick with a certain genre of metal and they should evolve. Possibly, I'm assuming their music changed from one way to a little bit different just to experiment with it. And I can understand her saying that because I think sometimes, we get a preconceived notion. A lot of people think, oh, well, they're just selling out kind of thing sometimes. Maybe that's not it. Maybe there's a reason why they want to do it. Maybe it's because they feel the necessary need um, to explore and to get something kind of a newer sound. You know what I mean? It's one of those should I not do this kind of thing. But I guess they're worried about the fans not liking their music, and I think that says a lot that she's saying that because for me personally, I know a lot of times with the bands that I've listened to for a long time, I don't want them to sound the way they did when they first started because they want to for me improvement or improving their sound quality, the sing abilities, and even maybe the sounds itself really do mean a lot to me because like they were saying this article about it that Doge Cat. Whoa, what happened here? Okay, Doge Cat. When they put out a new song, they don't say she's never going to do rap again, is what they were saying in the article, which that's one of those things. It's like, um, it doesn't mean they will, right? It's going to be different. It's going to be something new. But, they don't have to stick with it. I mean, even like a group called King 810 that I've listened to, I don't know if a lot of people have heard of them before, but they are really good. Um, Part of it is seems like it's kind of a metal, or I'm assuming it's a new metal band, because there's such a broad spectrum of bands that are classified under new metal versus like say like death metal and all this other stuff. Death metal is quite a bit different. It sounds a certain way, but each band's unique in their own way too, as far as their distinct sounds. And sometimes they have to have like a thing that they do. You know what I mean? Because like Obituary, they do a really good job with the vocals, so where they're heavy enough, but still enough to where you can should be able to understand pretty much everything they say. At least from what I've seen or what I've heard, I should say. Um, and that's going to say with Spiritbox. I think I've heard a few of their songs, and they're pretty good. They have quite a bit of variety, which is kind of nice. Um, the one thing I will say this much, and I don't know how much they will change over the next course of the next 4 or 5 albums that they put out, is Bloody Wood. That's one of the ones that I had, like with other bands that I just talked about, that I apologize to. Um, I, well, both of those bands, I definitely thought they'd be really huge. Um, I had started listening to them before, not Bloodywood, but the other band. I'm not going to mention their name, but because of certain things. Um, when I first heard their music, it was I think Goliath that I heard their first couple songs from, and then they also had an album before that which sounded really good. I love their covers. It was really phenomenal. At least the ones when they first started off. And to me, when you're starting off, I can understand doing a few covers just to get in there. But when you're making your third, fourth album, I think the covers should be, tucked away, not done at all, to be honest, until later on once you got a fan base. Plus, bring out the albums fairly frequently. I would say every 2 to 3 years, possibly, to get yourself established in fan bases, especially when you've got a pretty good fan base, but you're not like really over the top with it. I think if they would have had that sooner, like back when COVID hit, then things would be different. Now apparently they're releasing two albums. I didn't realize that. I thought it was just the one. So I have not heard the new album. And I don't know if I will, because apparently I don't want to be a fan. And there's a reason why I say that, because of a comment somebody made that I'm just going to be that. And if that's the way they see things, then I don't know if I want to, how do you say, encourage that thought or that view. And if that's the case, I believe, and this is me. A lot of people might think I'm crazy, might think I'm off in the head with this, but the bands that I've listened to, at least all the albums that I bought, have done a phenomenal job. I bought Bloody Woods album. That's the first album I've bought since I started streaming, which is saying a lot, because to me, I've heard the music, I know the album, but I didn't hear the album before I pre-ordered it, because I did pre-order it before. And part of the reason why I pre-ordered it before is they already had some of those songs out there. So yes, they were singles, and for me, the single thing before you get the album out, one or two songs, and possibly, I think that's apparently a new trend, because before they never did that. Like they might have played on the radio a little bit before the album came out, which I can understand, at least one song. So I guess in a way that's a single, but they didn't consider it a single. Um, when they do a single, it's like a release of a song that's going to be out there for a while, before they put out, if any, album for it. But to me personally, I think they should have went with a brand new album, at least one, with no covers, no singles that they've already done already. Because to me, putting the singles into an album that you are releasing is kind of a dumb idea. I think it's not that great. It's kind of like Bloodywood, when they're doing their thing, when they're doing their third, fourth album, it might shift their genre. To be honest with you, I don't even know what genre they're in. Like if it's a new metal band, I'm assuming it's new metal probably, because the way the sound is. Because it kind of reminds me of, it's a little different, or kind of not with their. It doesn't fit anything else. Kind of like Rob Zombie's always been like that for me. I think that his music has a certain feel to it. It's a little more unique, and really, he doesn't. It sounds like him. It has that same feel like him, but as far as genres go, I don't think it classifies. To me, it's like, is it really new metal? Is it something else? It's hard saying. It's, to me, it almost, some of it sounds like a disco style heavy metal sound to a point. It's got a lot of energy. It also reminds me of what is it? Trying to think. The very early songs of his, where they had this kind of like surfer kind of style vibe on a couple of the songs. It sounded similar like that, where they go, well, not really, maybe not. Maybe I'm thinking of something else, but anyway. So I can understand what she's talking about. They're being so engrossed in or obsessed with the idea of the song should sound a certain way because they're in a certain band. They're a blank band, or that band, like a death metal, you know? See, this is rather interesting. She goes, I don't feel like we've been around long enough to disappoint anyone. We are just getting started, and we are still figuring out what we are. And I don't even know. If I find out, she explains, I don't care about genre. I just know we like making heavy music with a low toned guitars. But I'm like, take me or leave me. This is what I sound like. I feel like a lot of bands are having fun with that too. Yeah, it's like Max and Igor Cavalera. I think they still have their sound. They still sound like them. They still have the vocals and some of the things, but sometimes they mix it up a little bit with the sounds. Um, I think Simple Terror is one of the best bands out there. Not just the old school, but the new stuff with the newer people in the band, um, compared to the original with Max and Igor. Um, which I was just talking to somebody about that at McDonald's. He was doing DoorDash, and I saw his Cannibal Corpse shirt. And I said, "That's a nice, cool shirt," and that's what I'm talking about. Cannibal Corpse is pretty much a death metal. I'm assuming death metal because they're talking about corpses and stuff, but metal band. So yeah, it's one of those. They have a certain sound. They have a certain look. You know, it's kind of like Viking. Excuse me. Viking mode. See, that's why I should have gotten out here a lot sooner than I am right now. Um, it's crazy. Hmm. I don't know if I got somebody in my live stream talking to me or not, but anyway. Um, Sorry, I was just double checking that because there could be some people in the stream, but I don't see them because it's not showing up on here. Um, yeah, I think that sometimes we kind of get too caught up in that. Um, to me, having a difference in sound, it does help because like some of the other bands I've been listening to, like September Morning had a really kind of semi pretty heavy sound to a point, but still sounded like she does now with the newer songs, but now she's doing a lot lighter songs. So it's not quite the same as what it was when it first started. Like 20 Below was kind of one of those. It was light, but it wasn't super light and it wasn't super heavy on the sound. In this moment, she does a fairly good job with that. She kind of bounces around a little bit with sounds, but it still sounds like her. It's kind of like Metallica when they do covers of songs. They play it kind of like what the originals were for the covers, but then they may still make it sound like they metallicify it. Basically, it's James singing. Basic is what it boils down to. There's a certain distinct sound that he projects, and we know how he sings. But he also made it quite a bit true to the original. Like Stone Cold Crazy is one of my favorites that they redid. Which actually, it's funny. The box set was like I forgot $200 or $300 at the time, and it had like either two, I think one or two DVDs or VHS, which I was kind of opposed to because I didn't really have a DVD player at the time. But I had a VHS player, and I thought, oh, they'll never get rid of VHS. Well, guess what? They did. So I got like two VHS Metallica concert things from the binge live binge and purge VHS, but I'm not sure where to be honest, I'm not even sure where the box is. And I think the CDs are still my collection of actual CDs, I believe. And I'm not sure if I've got the box that it came in, to be honest. Be interesting to see if I can find that because it's been a while. But even that right there is a difference for them. The way they sing, the way they do it, like Turn the Page is a little lighter. It's not quite Metallica, but it still has a Metallica feel to it. I'm trying to think of some other bands that are kind of like that. Spiritbox, I guess, would be one. Infected Rain, I think she's got quite a bit of a interesting sound. It sounds a certain way. I mean, even when they were playing it live, they sounded a lot different than that. And even stitched apart because they were with other heavier bands. I think they were trying to make it sound a little heavier because normally their music is not quite that heavy, but it still sounded like the band, you know, and the song that they did. It was just a lot heavier. Um, I think that says a lot about different bands. Tool is one that really has not stayed. You know a Tool song by when you first hear it. Usually, it's not hard to figure out normally, unless maybe there's something really different they're trying to do, which that can happen. At least they're not being like Def Leppard. Oh God, Def Leppard I think is probably one of the worst bands when it comes to that. Not so much I hate their music; it's more like they always seem to sound the same, you know, with a certain accent, a certain way of singing it, and the sounds of the band are kind of like the same, so it gets a little stale for me. So I will let all of you guys go, and hopefully you guys will have a very good weekend and holidays coming up here after a while for like Thanksgiving, Christmas. Not that I'm trying to rush it or anything, but I figure why not. Uh, I was just gonna say, don't forget to headbang the like and subscribe button today, so that way you know when we're gonna have some stuff on here. And I definitely need your help with the watch hours and the likes. So if you can, please, 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 let me know. Watch it, find out. Thanks for watching. Have a good night. Take care, and good night.